Relationships gotta be built on trust. If you ain't got trust, you ain't got nothing.
For many, falling in love starts with butterflies, the whirling pool of excitement and nervousness at the potential relationship. We all crave someone who we can have fun with, laugh with, and live life with. But is this our natural human desire, or an artificial feeling of romance created by mainstream culture? And what if you are single or have never been in a relationship? This may be why you have a love-hate relationship with singledom. Ever since you were a child, our mainstream culture has shown you ideal relationships. Take Disney, for example. Stories like Snow White tell little girls that when they grow up, they need to find their Prince Charming. Go on social media and you will see loved-up couples showcasing their romantic relationships. Listen to our music and you will hear love songs about romance and heartbreak. Watch our movies and you will see a range of romantic comedies and chick flicks surrounding the theme of love. Watch our reality TV shows like Singles Inferno, which promote the idea of a happily ever lifestyle. Simply by living in our society, you see your friends and family get into relationships, get married and have children. It sends the message that getting into a relationship means you are entering adulthood. And with the rise of dating apps like Tinder, we now have a range of opportunities to find someone. We have so many choices today, yet 50% of Generation Z are not in committed relationships or are interested in dating. So why is that? Being a young adult who has never been in a relationship isn't as rare as you might think. For example, a survey in Singapore found 40% of people aged between 21 and 45 had never dated before. That's 4 in 10 people who have never been in a relationship. For instance, 31-year-old Anand Kumar says work is a barrier to finding a relationship. He hasn't dated in the past 6 years and works 10 hours a day while also pursuing a rapping career in his free time. Although he would like to get married and start a family, he wants to become financially successful first, since having children can be expensive. Other people feel like all the good ones are taken. Busyness with life also prevents others, like 22-year-old journalism student Caitlin Phillips, from finding a partner. She says she's open to love, but not actively looking, saying, "I'm too busy. Honestly, I travel a lot and I have a great group of friends that I hang out with." Some others simply haven't found the right person yet, like 26-year-old Ford Tony, who does want a steady partner, but he hasn't found the right connection yet. But what if you have never been in a relationship? How does a lack of dating experience impact you? On the positive side, being single in your young adult years gives you time to learn more about yourself, your likes and your dislikes, and what you want to do in the future. Developing a stronger sense of identity can create more self-confidence to attract like-minded people into your life. On the negative side, especially for women, if no one ever approaches you as a romantic interest, it can impact your self-perception and self-confidence.
We're never asked out, never asked to any dances, never were shown any romantic interest whatsoever.
Okay, let's chat about this real quickly. That has been my entire experience, and I'm 24 years old. I remember in high school, I was never invited or asked to any dances, homecomings, whatever. I never really dated in college. Male interest just isn't something that comes to me. I've never had a boyfriend, etc. Today, I'm completely fine with the fact that I've never had those experiences. But I remember there being a certain point in my life where it's like, wow, this happens for everyone else. Why isn't it happening for me? So I took that as an opportunity to look at myself less than as a woman, because I wasn't having these beautiful dating life experiences that everyone else around me was having. And I started to doubt myself and who I was. I've moved out of that thought process and I've realized that that is not the case at all. But those life experiences and not having them really shaped a lot of my thought at one point in time, which wasn't good.
Never being desired, kissed, or asked on a date in your high school or college years can lead to being easily attached to others because it's so rare.
Definitely understand this. I think another consequence of the whole never being desired when you were younger situation is not knowing how to interpret flirting versus being nice. So I always assumed, and still do, that nobody could ever like me. So if anybody's ever expressing interest in me, it has to be a joke. So I get pretty dismissive as like a defense mechanism. But at the same time, there's also this consequence of easily getting attached to anybody who gives you attention because it just feels so rare, like you're never gonna get it again. So I think lots of people experience varying degrees of this. I have definitely noticed myself in unhealthy situations, even though I've never actually been in a relationship before. Wow, isn't romantic trauma so much fun? But I'm thankful for all my trauma because it helped me develop a sense of humor, so it was worth it.
When you are stereotypically behind others in the dating realm, the lack of experience can lead to misreading flirting signals, not knowing how to communicate with the opposite gender, or simply being uninterested in romantic relationships altogether. Others completely shun relationships. The MGTOW, Men Going Their Own Way movement, advocates for men to separate themselves from women and society, which they believe has been corrupted by feminism, which has a whole set of other issues I won't go into. According to Pew Research, with the popularity of online dating, 47% of us believe dating has gotten harder. This has made some of us opt out of the dating marketplace. This decline is very prevalent in Japan, with 1 in 4 Japanese singles over 30 being unwilling to get married. In this super solo culture, younger people who are romantically disinterested in relationships are labelled as herbivores, while those who are actively pursuing a romantic partner are labelled as carnivores. But researchers have suggested this could be due to socio-economic hardships, with these herbivore groups coming from low-income, low-education populations. If you lack financial and job security, it may decrease your interest in dating. This may point to a wider societal and economic issue that government policies need to tackle. Did you know that love is big business for some companies? Online dating companies like Tinder capitalize off your desire for love, because the longer you use the app, the more revenue you bring in. They sell you the hope of finding someone so that you become a paid subscriber. Valentine's Day is also a day for companies to market and sell their products to couples. In 2017, a bank survey showed Australians spend $23 million on Valentine's gifts. This was broken down into $13.6 million for dinners, $7 million for drinks, and $3.2 million for flowers. This later grew to $1 billion in 2020 on self-love gifts, like single parties and solo experiences. The wedding industry further profits from relationships. The average wedding in Australia cost $36,000 and 79,000 weddings occurred in 2020. Don't forget, dating also has financial costs. According to a survey done in 2022, the average person spends $68 on a date, with 83% of men paying for it. While most of us agree dating has gotten more expensive, especially during high inflationary times, it has not prevented some of us to leave the dating scene, but it has made the potential suitor's income and profession a much more important factor in dating decisions. But even though finding a relationship costs money, are we biologically wired to seek a partner? You've probably heard the notion that we humans are social creatures who need other people to live for survival. From a biological standpoint, romantic love is a mix of erotic responses, emotions, and behavior. Studies have found love activates the dopamine reward system in our brain, which influences our motivation and goal-taking. It's a survival mechanism that encourages us to pursue our needs and desires, like water, food, or a romantic partner. While humans are wired for love, it's complex, as everyone is different. Some individuals have a predisposition to forming and maintaining pair bonds while also staying in love, while some individuals fall outside of the heterosexual norm. This also leads to the question of whether we humans are made to be monogamous or polygamous. Some researchers have suggested humans are wired to be monogamous, but still have the urge to sleep around. Monogamy is seen as a better economic arrangement, as polygamy causes more social problems, increasing male conflict and lowering productivity. For example, in China, due to the one-child policy in the 1970s, which preferred male babies, it has distorted the natural female-to-male social balance, with more than 110 males born to every 100 females as of 2022, which has increased the difficulty for males in the lower socioeconomic bracket to find partners. With some of us rushing to get married and others single, that begs the question, well, yes and no. In general, it's believed married people are happier than single people, but there are nuances. One explanation is that marriage causes greater physical and psychological health outcomes. Knowing that you have someone to rely on can give you the endurance to face life's challenges. Married couples also tend to encourage each other to live healthier lives as they fall into a settled lifestyle, but there is a difference between the genders. Women get a boost in happiness just before the wedding, but later drop to a level below the engagement date. This suggests women may have unrealistic expectations as their satisfaction falls to baseline when they are faced with the daily realities of marriage. The opposite happens for men. Their life satisfaction remains steady before the wedding, but jumps during the first few months of marriage. Previous research has shown you single people are more inclined to provide social support to your communities, and you also tend to have more free time for self-care. The singles with a high satisfaction tend to be younger women with less education and better health, while those less likely to be satisfied with singleness are older men who are more educated or worse in health. Nonetheless, your happiness levels are not only influenced by your relationship status, but other factors in your life too. Rather, personal preference and choice dictate your relationship satisfaction much more than a marriage title.